We're going to go ahead and take a look at variation. Direct variation, joint variation, and inverse variation. Now, most of you are familiar with the equation for finding circumference of a circle. C equals 2 pi r. In other words, as the radius gets bigger, the circumference gets bigger. Or as the radius gets smaller, the circumference gets smaller. So it's a direct variation, as in what goes on with r is the same thing that goes on with your circumference. By the way, your direct variation constant of proportionality here is 2 pi. Direct variation means as one increases, the other increases, or as one decreases, the other decreases. All direct variation can be set up in the form of y equaling your constant of proportionality multiplied by your other variable. Now, it's really just a special linear function in which it goes through the origin with the y-intercept of 0. Now, consider if you have a set distance. Your rate varies inversely to time. As in, if you have a set distance and you take less time to go there, that means your speed has to go up. If you have a set distance and you increase your time to get there, your speed had to go down. So what one does, the other. So if one increases, the other decreases, or vice versa. That's an inverse variation. So as one increases, the other decreases, or as one increases, the other decreases. All inverse variation can be written in the form of x times y equals your constant of proportionality, or what I prefer, y equals your constant of proportionality divided by the other variable. Once again, k is that constant of proportionality. For the most part, when you're solving variation problems, you want to write the general equation, substitute your given information in to be able to find that k value, the constant of proportionality. Then you write that general equation plugging in what k is, and that's your particular equation. Sometimes you're going to be done at this point. Sometimes you're going to have to finish answering the question. So we're going to start off here. Y varies directly to x. So I'm going to start off with y equaling. Always going to have that constant of proportionality or variation in there, which is k, to x. Direct variation is a special line, so it's just y equals k times x. So now I'm going to go ahead and substitute in the given information. I was given y being negative 15, and that's paired up with x being 5, so I'll plug that in. Now, that allows me to figure out what k is. Solving it for k, I get negative 3. So now I'm going to go ahead and take that negative 3 and plug it in for k. So I'll have y equals negative 3 times x. This is my particular solution. Sometimes you're going to be done here. But in this case, we need to actually find y when x is 3. Well, I'm going to find y when x is 3, so I'm going to take and replace x with 3 and solve it for y, so I get x to be negative 9. We also have direct variation. Direct variation is basically where y varies directly to x and y varies directly to z. So we're going to go y equals our constant of proportionality. It's varying directly to x and z, so I'm going to put them both here, and they're multiplied together. So in this situation, we know these last three are all paired together. Y is 12, x is 3, z is 8. I'm going to plug x, y, and z in here to the red. That's going to allow me to find out what k is, my constant of proportionality. And so I get 12 is equal to 24k, so I get k to be a half. Then I write that particular equation, go y equals, plug in my k being 1/2, followed by my x and my y. Sometimes you're done, but here we need to still find y when we know x is 10 and z is 5, so I'll plug that into the green. I get this here. Half of 10 is 5 times another 5 is 25. I get my answer. And that is variation problem. So here we have our inverse. A varies inversely, so I'll go A equals to my constant of proportionality over my other variable. For inverse, you always put the other variable in the bottom. So you plug in your given information, A being the -6, B being the 2. Then you can multiply both sides by 2 and you get -12 as k. So rewrite the red equation with the k value being plugged in for -12. Then you can go ahead and answer the question. B is -7. Plug in -7 for B. And you get A is equal to 12/7. The next three are very similar. See if you can work them out and then watch the video to make sure you agree. So y equals k times x. Plug in my given information, solve it for k. Rewrite the red equation with the appropriate k value. Plug in my x being 7 so I can find y being -28. Direct or joint variation. I'm going to go y equals k, my constant proportionality. Put down my other two variables as direct. Plug in my given information, which is the last three. They're linked together. I get k to be 1/10. Rewrite the red equation with 1/10 in there. Plug in my 3 and my z being 2 so I can find y. Inverse variation, A equals k divided by b because it's an inverse. Plug in the given information, find k. Rewrite the red with the k value plugged in. Plug in my b value so I can find a, and we're done.